everyone, and welcome back to Find My Field, where we explore different careers and help students discover future opportunities and pathways. Today, we're joined by Coach Roula Saba Mouhanna, a career coach and mentor who helps people better understand themselves, their strengths, and the career paths that fit them best. In this conversation, we'll talk more about career choices, personal growth, and how students and young professionals can make smarter decisions about their future. Coach Roula, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Nai. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. So, can you briefly introduce yourself in general and what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, yeah. I am a leadership and career coach. I have been coaching since 2006, and this came about by accident. I was in a previous life, I was an engineer, and then I did my MBA, and I started when I got married. I started traveling with my husband from country to country. So I didn't have a proper career. I used to take whatever I could land. Then when I came back to Lebanon, I had my children had grown up, and I had this crisis that I don't know what to do. I don't know what career to have, and so on. And while talking to a friend, I realized that what I wanted to do is to support young adults find their calling in life. So I started looking for assessment and I found the Berkman assessment. I started using it for students. I still use it, but I introduced it also in companies because it is a very powerful assessment for coaching. And I added coaching along the way to become, an executive and leadership coach, as well as a career coach. I still have this passion of guiding and supporting students find their calling. So I have a two-prong, business. One is executive leadership, and the other one is career coaching and support for young adults. So that's my career path.
All right. And so you just mentioned that you use tools like the Berkman method. Can you explain what that is in general, and how can this assessment help people better understand what they want to do in the future, and what can it reveal that people don't often see about themselves?
Yeah. The Berkman assessment is a psychometric assessment, but it is a very powerful assessment in terms of it being divided into three parts. One part identifies the interest of a person, and interests are things that you do automatically. When you're in flow, nobody asks you to do them. These are your passions, and this is where really people thrive. So it identifies the interest of a person, plus it talks about the character of the individual. And in the character, it's not only their usual behavior, so how they behave normally, it includes also their needs. What is it that they need from the environment for them to thrive and not to be under stress? So by identifying the character of the person, so their usual behavior and their needs, we can really understand how they would react in a different environment. So when they are acting under stress, it means that the environment is not befitting them. And this is where we can engage in coaching to support them be well in that environment if they decided to stay in. And the third part of the assessment identifies areas in which the person would thrive if they were to work in it. It doesn't necessarily mean they would like it, but this is where they might excel as individuals. And when I'm using the assessment for young adults, we try to find a common denominator between their interest and the areas they might strive in. Okay, and this common denominator would be an area where they would be really loving to go to work and thriving in it because they excel at it. So this is the value of the assessment.
Okay, so you highlight the contrast between interests and strengths at the same time. So how is that important when choosing a profession? And if there's a really big gap in between the interest and the strength, do you think people can still succeed in a field like that, even if one of the two sides are lower than the other?
This is where coaching goes. It's
Okay.
trying to help the young adult find what they want, what is their purpose, what is their vision of their life. You know, at a young age, we don't think about, you know, what am I here, you know, coming to do? What am I? What is my purpose? So in
Yeah.
coaching, once we identify the strengths of the person and then their interest, we try to find an area which fulfills both. But we start with the introspection. The young adult has to find out what is it that they like, what's their purpose in life, what is it that makes them really alive. What would they like to do? What do they value? Do they value supporting others? Do they value individual development and so on? So we identify their values, we identify who they want to be, and then we try to work with them on finding something that is befitting them, that has the interest and the strength.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But you know, in today's world, many students choose careers based on pressure and trends and family expectations. So, how, in your professional opinion, can these teenagers go about these situations and truly start to try to discover who they are?
That's the unfortunate thing. Yeah, the students are choosing their future based on either pressure from parents, from society, from colleagues, from friends, etc. And this is where they end up living somebody else's life. You know, if the
Yeah.
parents have, I see many parents, you know, that have a business that is running, and they tell their children, okay, you're going to be next in running that business. Well, that's fine if the person likes it, but if the person really is not passionate about that thing, it's like you're dictating your life onto the children, and this is very wrong. But the children don't have, not every, you know, not everybody has the power or the strength to say no, or this is what I want, or this is what I studied. I would love to
Yeah.
be doing that. So they go with the flow, saying, okay, you know, I have a career that is set for me. I don't have to search for another career and so on. And then halfway through, they realize that they are frustrated, they are demotivated, they don't want it, they lost their time, you know, wasted their time studying something and then ended up, you know, not liking it, frustrated, and so on. So
Yes.
I always encourage young adults to find their purpose first, to find and identify what they value, and then make the decision. Even if they say, okay, I will carry on with my family business or my parents' business, but I know that I will have on the side another, you know, small gig or a hobby to fulfill my passion. It's up to them to decide, but it shouldn't be imposed on them.
Okay. And do you think someone can still succeed in a field that doesn't naturally match their personality? So, in the example that you give, where the person takes over the family business, do you think they could still succeed at that? Or would it be fair to say that if somebody isn't succeeding at what they're doing, it might be a clear sign that this job or this field isn't made for them?
You know, individuals are different. So based on how you react to the fact that you don't like that thing. Some people have a mindset of saying, okay, I don't like it. It's giving me, you know, enough money to carry on with my life. I will admit, you know, I will take it, I will keep it, and then I will focus on something else that brings me joy. And it would be my hobby or my side gig or whatever it is. And other people say, okay, you imposed on me that thing, and it's something I don't like, and I hate it, and I cannot live my life with it. Okay. And I want to revolt, and I put the blame on the parents, and then I start to find something else and reassess my life and continue. So it's based on your mindset, what priorities you have in your life, and if you feel that you have been, you know, subjected to a wrong. And here, if you don't take responsibility for your life, you are always at the excuse side, and you're always blaming somebody and not happy. So it's also changing the mindset. Some people come to me and they're frustrated with the choices that they made, or that were, that they were forced to make, or they were not aware of, and so on. And uh, through coaching and through interaction, they come up keeping their job because they were heard, and they assessed what they'd like to do, and they found a solution to keep that job, that they don't like, but and to
Yeah.
do something on the side. Other people are not willing to do that. So it depends on the values of your freedom that you have and how much you accept what you're in or not. So there is no one standard solution for that, or standard answer for that.
Okay, but I feel like in today's world, there are two different types of people: the people that don't know what they want to do at all, and the people who have so many different interests that they get lost in what exactly to choose. So, how exactly should they approach this situation? So, as somebody as well who has this issue and who sometimes gets lost between all my different interests, how can they prioritize a certain hobby or thing that they like, a passion, and how can they not get lost in the various amounts of things that they like to do?
So you mean, just let me rephrase to see if I understood. You mean if somebody has many passions or many interests and they're lost as to where to find their proper career or major and so on, this is what you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So people that come to me are more or less two kinds of people: people who are lost and they don't know what to do because they have many passions, or they have many strengths. They are good at so many topics that, wherever you put them, they will flourish, and they have many passions. So they're lost because wherever you put them, or wherever they decide to go, they say yes, that's fine, but it's one of my passions, or I don't have a very high passion, so they're equally good, but nothing is overwhelmingly important. So here where the Berkman assessment comes in handy, plus the coaching, because we try to identify from the Berkman where are the interests. It's put in percentages out of 100. So we see if they are all equally good, or the same percentage. Then through questioning and through coaching, we try to bring out what the person wants to do, or what the person's vision for their future life is. And based on that, we can decide together with the student about, the potential career that would be more fulfilling for them. It's the combination of the assessments, results of the assessment, plus the coaching questions that I bring into the table, that will allow the young adult to introspect and identify their passions and their purpose in life, for them to be able to choose that, this is more befitting me than this other choice, because they
Okay.
all have the answer within them. It's not brought up
Yeah.
to the surface. This is what a coach does.
Okay, that's interesting. But now let's move on to a different, more pressing and worrying issue that students usually have. People, and mainly students, are very scared of what job they should pick, especially because of all the technological advancements and AI dominating the world so rapidly. So, how should young people think about choosing a future proof career that won't be replaced in the near future by AI?
AI is evolving quickly. at the speed of light. We don't know. AI started with something, now it's doing more and more things. The way I see it, and I'm no expert in AI, so you take my
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
within my knowledge. The way I see it, AI now is facilitating the task, the day-to-day tasks. So work that used to take us a long time is done in minutes by AI. Research, putting a PowerPoint, doing a, a proposal, whatever it is, any task that requires time and structure is done by AI. Now, what we do have to do after that is to have that critical eye to decide if this is what we want, this is what is true. So sometimes, AI just brings data, but doesn't have all the requirements. If you don't feed it well, feed the requirements well, you have to have the critical eye to decide what to put and not put. Now, when you asked how can they future-proof their career, it's like, with AI or without AI, even before we used to say, okay, what career would be good enough or in demand, in high demand in 4 years' time? You could guess a little bit, but you wouldn't know
Yeah.
100%. Okay. So you might say civil engineering is in rise now because there is whatever, a boom in construction. Then later you would say no, uh, industrial or whatever it is. So it's a guessing process for the future. Now, to future proof yourself, you cannot 100% future proof yourself, but AI will never replace the human contact, the relationship that you build with an individual, the follow up as a leader, the bringing together of a team, the working of a team. These are things that leadership is still required to do. You can give the AI to put a presentation for you, to do a research for you. You will critically reanalyze everything, but the human connection will never be there. Even an artist, you know, an artist might, logically you would say, aesthetically, I would put a painting that is whatever. I'm not an artist. That has vivid colors, that has a meaning, that has uh, a message to give, okay? And I might ask, AI to put that. But then the
Yeah.
artist himself or herself would go counterintuitively and put a darker spot somewhere because of his or her lived experience. And they might say, this is, this hole or this black dot or red means my life that was turbulent in some time and so on. So they're speaking their own language. You can give AI whatever, but you have to put your input as an individual. So what I would say is future proofing is first still the same way. Look at your passion, look at what you're good at, look at your character, what puts you under stress. Try to find something that befits all of that. Then look at if it makes enough money for me to survive, because also we need to survive. And if it is, in the future, it would be still valid, given that if it has a human part that can be personalized, it still is there. As long as you have the passion, you would excel. I would tell them you can be anything. There is no mediocre job and good job. There is a job that you're passionate about. If you like to do things, wood carving, and you're passionate about it, you'll excel at it versus anybody who is just carving wood just for a living. So you distinguish yourself with your passion. I know we should be
Okay.
wary of AI. We should look to certain things that might, become obsolete, like maybe accounting or anything, that is repetitive. You still need to have the eye to check that it is there, but it's less of a career in demand. But you still have something in finance that is required. So you go to the field that has more involvement of individual, of human perspective, human the ethical part. Unless you feed the ethical part to the AI, you need to be wary of it. Would I do that, or it's not ethical by my standards? The creative side, we still have a say in it. The human side, the leadership side, we still have a say in it. So I'm not too pessimistic about, many jobs being eradicated. There are a few things that are,
Yeah.
organizationally, and that they require repetition and so on. Yeah, they might go. So that's my answer. I don't know if it helps you.
No, of course, it's very insightful. Thank you. And but again, one of the most pressing things that people are facing today is that a degree is no longer useful on its own. Oftentimes, when people want to get hired, they realize that just their degree is not enough and they have to do more things in order to stand out. So, how important are adaptability and lifelong learning today compared to degrees alone?
Yeah. The degree is your stepping stone towards going inside an environment. It's just a degree that says you have the required knowledge. But in today's times, everything is moving at a very fast rate. So whatever you studied at university, after you graduate, you have loads of information that you still need to continue learning about. Okay. Before, it was really the pace was slower. We didn't have computers. There wasn't anything. You used to research things for a while. Now the pace is so fast that the degree is your entry point, but you cannot rely on it and stop. Lifelong learning is a must. Soft skills are a must. Getting experience, getting exposure laterally into other things is a must. You cannot be only focused on one thing. You can be the expert in that, but you need to know the context around it. You need to have more knowledge about things around you. So that's why we're trying to develop a mindset of a growth mindset in people. It's not set in stone what I'm doing and that's it. I need to be more knowledgeable. I need to keep feeding my soul and my brain certain things, whether in my field or around my field. So diploma certifications and short diplomas, short certifications are a must these days. You cannot stop with one degree, and this is great. It's just keeping up with the speed of knowledge and development in the world.
Yeah. And now, to go back on something you said earlier, you mentioned a specialist and a generalist, and it's often a debate today whether being a specialist is better, or knowing a lot more things and being good at a lot of different things at the same time might be better. So, do you think that they're equally as important, or there is a favorite to one of them, or a more value to one of them?
I would I would say both. You need to be a
Okay.
specialist in something so that you create a niche. People will be attracted to you. Anybody, let's say I started with young adults, career guidance for young adults. Now, many people send their children to me just for that. Okay. I don't advertise for it. I'm known for it. But then
Okay.
I am a coach, a leadership and executive coach. I am a life coach. So people come to me also. I can't say only I'm focusing on career, because a human is a human, and in coaching, let's say. I need to coach the human side of that person, not only their career, because it's a holistic endeavor. Okay, this is in coaching. In any field, you need to specialize in something, to be a knowledgeable person in that field, and then you know it, and people can rely on you with their eyes closed. This is what attracts people to you. But also, you need to have a holistic view of other things that might, you know, interfere with that. So I would say you have to be a specialist in one
Okay.
single thing. You know, people, if you say the name of that person, that immediately they say go to the. If you say the name of an issue, they immediately tell you go to that person. They are the experts. But that expert should not be only, with closed eyes going around that. They need to have a wider vision of what is around them. So it's both for me.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, to end it all off, if every teenager listening today remembered only one message from this conversation, what would you want it to be?
To ask themselves, what do I really want in life? What do I value in life? Before listening to anybody else. You can listen. Advice is always welcome, but with the filter of what I like to do. Okay. So if people tell me you're good at biology, okay, I'm saying I'm good. You're
Yeah.
excellent at biology. What should be a doctor? And a doctor is a prestigious job, and you earn well, and this is all valid. But if at the core I cannot see a drop of blood and I faint, then how would I be a doctor? So I need to understand myself first before I listen to the advice. Advice is very good, but I filter it through my own beliefs and my own values. That's the thing.
Okay. Well, it's been really insightful doing this entire interview, and we've learned a lot, not only about ourselves, but about how we should go on about our future. So it's really been amazing. Thank you so much, Coach Rula, for being here today and for sharing your experience and your thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Nai. It's been a pleasure and it's my passion. So anytime.